All righty, Miss Tanaya, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for asking. Now, Tanaya, I know that we had a moment to discuss the role as well as the company a little bit before we hopped on to our recording here.
Mhm.
Um, I would love for you to kickstart our interview and tell me a little bit about your professional experience.
Okay. Well, my name is Taniya Sangster. I started working, I would say, around 14, 15. And with the roles, the positions I've a variety, whether it's like independent and group. And I feel like I could start with the bail bondsman. I would consider that my first real professional and serious job. Because hosting, yeah, like it was just I was young, but at the First Coast Bail Bonds, I really was just organizing a lot of paperwork and keeping like I not going to give myself a lot of credit, but I feel like I kept everything running pretty smooth if I do say so myself. And even like what we had talked about with the spreadsheets, that was actually a very big thing that we had used there because it helped the clients and also say if they wanted to see I could also like filter it out and just put it on them so they can see their information. Also with my bosses as well, like when they wanted specific information. And it was very helpful. I love a good organized environment.
Absolutely. And thank you for that brief introduction to your experience. Now, I have your resume pulled up here. And just as you said, right, you've worked as a office assistant.
Mhm,
You've also worked in customer service for Alorica. Tell me
mhm.
a little bit about what your day looked like as a customer service rep there.
Okay. When you first get there, you just like the typical, you clock
Mhm.
in. You always have to check your emails. I was real big because we use Google Meet and we also like Google Chat and also we use Slack. And you just check your emails because they and also one thing I can say, which it wasn't bad, but we
Mhm.
used Outlook there and it's just you have to stay on top of everything daily because stuff changed and updated all the time. And I don't know, it was nice. And I feel like you just we talked to people, but it wasn't like the typical call, like just on the phone. It was like it was almost like a FaceTime call with the our customers, our clients. Yeah, that we could see each other. And it was a lot of different experiences. I feel like with me, I'm a very level-headed person. I'm a very calm. It takes a lot for me to get out of character. So I'm like very nice. And the environment was very nice, I would say.
What kind of, or what kind of, because I'm not familiar with Alorica, but what is it that they do? What kind of company is it?
It's kind of like one of the third party companies. Like they have it's the Alorica's the big one, and they have like different clients within. And the specific client that I work for, it was I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say it was like with the IRS and taxes and stuff like that, things of that sort. So it was very like we're dealing with a lot of like people's personal information, a lot of stuff that you can't talk about outside of the floor, the production floor. And
Okay, that makes sense. So a lot of confidential information was
hmm
being, well, confidential conversations nonetheless were being had throughout the day.
Yeah.
Now, I know you mentioned that a few of your communications with them were through a kind of like a FaceTime or video
Mhm.
chat, but were there also phone calls, emails, chats at all, or was it strictly just um like a FaceTime call?
Majority were FaceTime, and sometimes we did also have to pull in regular calls as well. Because sometimes, especially then, like say like older people, a lot of them they don't even have like the technology with a camera on it. So then we had to figure stuff out, and a lot of troubleshooting as well, like problem solving, and yeah, but and emails as well. But those were mainly just with other like coworkers and like managers, and like having those type of conversations.
Absolutely. I can only imagine that with you having to be really on camera with your clients, your customers every single day,
Mhm.
you had to maintain professionalism, correct?
Always, always.
I love that. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about the volume, right? Was it like a higher call volume? Now pause these videos, but was it a
Mhm.
high volume, like back to back, or what did that look like?
Yes, it was. It was like the best way I can explain it is we had our queue and an assignment popped up and you just had to take it and then we submit it and another one just comes. So you just keep it going. Yeah. Yeah, you're on the phone almost like your whole shift.
Amazing, amazing. And how do you feel about being in an environment to where you are having back-to-back work, phone calls or emails or chats? How do you feel about that environment?
I really consider myself a chameleon when it comes to stuff like that. because I'm very good in like I feel like I do well with fast paced stuff because I'm a very energetic person. I'm a very outgoing person. I don't mind to talk at all. I don't. So it was just like it wasn't like it didn't feel like work. Obviously I did my job, but it wasn't like I wasn't tired. You know how a lot of people they go to work and they hate their job. No, I was fine. Even if it was slow, I feel like I also gave myself a chance to like give like a mental break and think. And also sometimes I would go over and read the new updates just so because we had scripts. And sometimes I'm like, okay, let me go make sure nothing changed. And if it did, let me get that down.
Absolutely. It sounds like you're very much adaptable. And like you mentioned, you're a chameleon when it comes down to this. So
Mhm.
that's amazing in itself. Now, we know that you're looking for a new position. So when you
Mhm.
think about the next company that you want to join, what is it about that company that's really going to gravitate you to that position or just to the company overall?
I would honestly say someone like who like hears their workers, not only because you know a lot of people like bosses and stuff, they ask, but they don't really do nothing with what they receive. So I would love something and somewhere that allows me to grow because I am young, but I feel like I'm also very mature and very professional for my age. And I feel like just because of my age, people could feel like or like bosses feel like they kind of like not necessarily take advantage, but like you get what I'm saying. And I'm just like, I feel like I could handle a lot of big positions. I feel like, especially because I graduated school early. I've always been very strong minded, very determined, always.
Absolutely. And it shows. It shows also when you're in your experience when you got right out of high school. Even before that, you've been working since you were 14. So
Mm,
definitely have something in you that's very determined. So that's
yes.
amazing. Now I want to kind of discuss some systems that you've used. I know you've mentioned spreadsheets, but what are some systems that you're familiar with?
We use in all my positions, I would say yes, spreadsheets, the Google Docs, Outline or Outlook. I'm so sorry. Yeah, a lot of we use majority of Google apps, I would say. Yeah, that was all.
That's amazing. Yeah, and then we briefly touched base about your experience, right, in the beginning of the call, which you
Mhm.
mentioned that your previous for the was it the there was it the bonds, the bails
Oh, the bail
bonds,
bonds. Yes.
and you also did spreadsheets on
Mhm.
there. You enter data, so you're
Yeah.
comfortable using that.
Mhm.
Amazing. All right. My last question for you is going to be: when were you looking to start a new position? How soon can you start?
I can start as soon as they would like me to.
Amazing. I'm so happy to hear. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you and getting to know your professional experience. So I want to thank you for your time this afternoon.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're very welcome, hon. But don't hang up on me really quickly. I want to continue chatting with you off the screen here or off the recording.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.